of a pair of 3D glasses. But don't worry if you did not get your glasses. If you need a pair of glasses, raise your hand really high. One of our fantastic studio tour ambassadors will bring out some. Alright, anybody else need glasses? Are we good? By the way, if you're wearing your glasses right now, you'll look fantastic. Go ahead, take them off. If you're wearing them right now, they might give you a little bit of a headache. We'll let you know when you're going to need it during the tour. And it looks like it is almost time for us to hit the road. So everybody throw your hands up. Turn to the sideway, bye. Everybody in line, bye. So put your hands together for the most important person on our tour, Jessica, our driver. Now just a heads up too, if at any point during the tour you have a medical emergency or drop something of value or need any assistance, reach up, pull that red cord running down the center of the ceiling of the tram. I'll come back, I'll assist you as soon as it's safe too. But otherwise, please do remain seated with your arms and legs inside the vehicle. There's no smoking or vaping on the tour, and be prepared because the tour has sudden tram movements, loud noises, fire effects, and water effects. Definitely keep your cameras out. You're going to take some awesome pictures, but also make sure you keep your cameras protected. And for your safety and the safety of everybody on board, please no selfie sticks on board the tour. Here to kick us off is our master of ceremonies and the host of The Tonight Show, Jimmy Fallon.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Fallon. Welcome aboard the world-famous studio tour. I know you're thinking, why the tux? Well, we're celebrating our 60th anniversary. That's right, 60 years of glitz, glamour, and our own great white shark. As we celebrate our diamond anniversary today, we pay tribute to Universal's past and take you behind the scenes to discover why this studio tour is world famous. So whether this is your first visit or your 60th, get ready for fun, excitement, and an experience like no other.
On March 15th, 1915, our founder Carl Laemmle invited the public into the studio to watch silent movies being made. The guests could walk from set to set and marvel at all the new technology involved in filmmaking. But with the invention of sound and the need for quiet on the set, the original walking tours ended. And in the 1960s, under the leadership of company chairman Lew Wasserman and executives Al Dorskin and Jay Stein, the idea of reviving a tour of the studio returned when the Gray Line bus tours originating in Hollywood made a stop out here at our gates. Then on July 15th, 1964, the very first of our red and white candy-striped glamour trams took 67 passengers on a 2-hour driving tour of our lot, and our world-famous studio tour was born. Right now, we're riding in style, too, on one of our 60th anniversary glamour trams, modeled after the original glamour trams that we had. These were designed by Harper Goff, who was a well-known set designer and art director at the time. Worked on movies like Paramount's Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and was known for his fantastical designs. But our tour originally started with just 2 guides, 2 drivers, 1 ticket seller working out of a trailer on Lankershim Boulevard. But from there we expanded. We added some really cool special effects out here. Like in the 60s and 70s, we had our burning house effect. Here it is right on your screens. We'd show our guests how we can make it look like a house was burning down for the movies without it ever actually burning down. And ironically, it used to be over on the right-hand side where we now have the real fire department for Universal City Fire Station 51. So these are our real heroes. Thank you guys. We named it Fire Station 51 after the fictional fire station from the TV show Emergency. What if you watch Chicago Fire? Yeah, they're also Fire Station 51 because now it's become a little Easter egg we hide in different NBC Universal productions as a tribute to the firefighters in our city. Also kind of ironically, all our construction on the left, and it looks like this old rock slide attraction we had out here in the 60s and 70s too in that same area. We've been doing some construction, upgrading and expanding both the theme park and the back lot too. In fact, they've been working on the building in front of us. It's called a sound stage. Do most of our interior scenes inside of sound stages. The TV show The Voice filmed inside of that stage for years. And they do still film on our lot too. They're actually filming the 27th season of The Voice right now. They just moved to one of the brand new sound stages we built out on our back lot a few years ago. Before that, all the sound stages were on the front lot. We really only had the exterior sets on the back lot, but now I got sound stages all over the place. And we call them sound stages because when the doors are closed, makes these about 98% soundproof. So we can build any sort of set inside of these and then just close the door to keep it isolated. Now, not only are we an entire city, Universal City Studios, we're a real working theme park directly next to a real working movie studio. In fact, right now, we're driving right between the two. Over on the right-hand side, that's Super Nintendo World. And on the left, they've been using these sound stages for the third season of the show Bel Air that airs on NBC's streaming service Peacock. It actually just came back for the third season this past Thursday on Peacock. That show is really good. It's a dramatic readaptation of The Prince Bel Air, but here it's a little bit more mature audience. It's not really the youngest. Fantastic cast on that show, too. And here's a couple of their stars, Jabari Banks and Ollie Shillington, to welcome us to our front lot.
Leaving the theme park behind and entering the front lot where real Hollywood magic is made. How? Well, inside the sound stages that surrounds us, we can create any kind of environment the screen demands.
For the past 60 years, studio tour visitors have driven right by these buildings, and inside these walls, the sets from your favorite TV shows and movies have transported audiences anywhere the imagination can take you. Even to a palatial mansion in Bel Air.
When we film Bel Air, we love coming out of the sound stages and seeing the trams filled with excited guests as they drive by.
So, keep an eye out.
You'll never know who.
Or what?
You'll see on the studio tour.
And again, we don't just film inside of the sound stages. We also film out on our back lot. We'll see in just a minute. We can also film on location. That means we go to a real place. And our studios are incredibly collaborative too. We all work together all the time. So we run out studio space and film on each other's lots as well. Don't really get competitive until we get to the box office. We've been filming tons of TV out here recently. I mentioned Bel Air and The Voice, Lopez versus Lopez with George and Maya Lopez films out here. Reba McEntire's new show, Happy Place, films out here. And we've been filming two brand new shows. One's called A Classic Spy, stars Ted Danson, and it's going to be coming to Netflix. I got a new comedy coming to NBC this fall called St. Denis Medical. Looks like it's going to be really, really good. And we're going to drive right through their sets, too. Go ahead and get your cameras ready now, because coming up on the right, you're going to see the Minions hanging out in front of the Illumination sign. Illumination is one of the companies that have their offices out here on our lot. So does Mark Black Productions, and the one's bringing Wicked to the big screen in November. Can't wait for that one. Seth MacFarlane has his office out here. Filmed the prequel series for Ted out on our back lot. Even have Ted hanging out in front of our offices that we call our production bungalows coming up on the left. But here's Illumination's founder and CEO, Chris Meledandri, to let you know what it's like working inside of these historic offices out on our lot.
In the early days of the studio, these bungalows were used as dressing rooms to the stars of Hollywood's golden age. Now, they're used as offices where some of Hollywood's top directors, writers, and producers work their magic to get a production ready, including my company, Illumination. At Illumination, we've made some of the most successful animated films in box office history, including Despicable Me, Borax, Secret Life of Pets, Minions, Sing, The Grinch, and the Super Mario Bros. And the team is hard at work again as we launch our next film, Despicable Me 4.
Just past these production bungalows on the left, you're going to see some of our new offices. These are pretty cool. These are attached to a couple of the brand new sound stages that I mentioned. It's super convenient. They built these two stages so close to our back lot, as close to all the stages on the front lot. Because the first production to use these was Hairspray Live with Jennifer Hudson and Ariana Grande. Since it was a live production, they could film all the interior scenes inside of the soundstage Then during the commercial break, all they had to do was run across the street to our Metropolitan sets that they dressed up to look like Baltimore. So here's Jimmy Fallon to welcome us to our backlot.
We're about to cross the imaginary boundary onto the back lot, where we have exterior sets for many outdoor scenes. Over the last 60 years, studio tour guests have seen these locations turned into big cities, quiet suburbs, even that guy's hometown. Yeah, that guy. For countless movies and TV shows. This is Universal's Metro Sets.
Well, you can make these look like any city we want, and it's pretty easy to change because all of the brick, stone, tile that you're gonna see out here, this is all totally fake. It's made out of plastic and fiberglass. So that way we can paint the buildings any color we want. We can literally rip the sidings off the buildings, put new sidings up. It completely changes the look. In fact, that's what they just did in the next area we're gonna check out coming up on the right. We call this our Brownstone Street. That shows St. Denis Medical. They turned this into the exterior of the fictional St. Denis Regional Medical Center. I got some of our actors from St. Denis Medical. What's up, guys? The sets look even cooler when you have awesome actors in front. Doesn't that look so cool? Keep your cameras out too, because right now we're heading to my favorite set on the entire backlot. We're going back to the future.
Welcome to the Courthouse Square. These sets were used to create Hill Valley and the Back to the Future films.
And they represented multiple time periods: 1985, 1955, and the far, far distant future, 2015. To this day, this is one of the most popular sets on the Universal Studio Tour.
We had a lot of fun making those films here on the lot. I wonder what it'd be like to go back to those days. What if we had a time machine?
Hey everybody, do you think we can get this tram up to 88 miles per hour? See you in the future.
Now this clock tower is obviously iconic from Back to the Future. But believe it or not, this was already an iconic set. This was also the courthouse from To Kill a Mockingbird with Gregory Peck.
Let's go watch.
We actually use this area all the time too. If you watch the TV show Ted, this is their high school. And I'm not allowed to say anything, but you might want to take some photos right now because they might look extra special right now if you're a fan. I didn't say anything though. This is a perfect example of a small town out here at our backlot. But all we have to do is round the corner to head to the big city. We're gonna check out an area we call our New York Street because of how often we dress it up to look like New York City. And we renovated all of these next sets back in 2008 to make these HD friendly. We also made them as production friendly as possible too. When you drive through here, check out these street lights, especially the one coming up on the left. You'll see we've got some wires and cords hanging out of the bottom of some of these. It's because our street lights are made out of lightweight plastic. These aren't actually real metal. They're just designed to look like metal. Every few feet on the sidewalks, you see these little metal squares? Our sidewalks are all electric, so when we lift the metal squares up, there's regular 3-prong Edison plugs under there, just like you'd have at home. So we can plug our street lights directly into the sidewalks, just like lamps. Makes it really easy to change the time period. Like, it's 1920s, 30s for Changeling with Angelina Jolie. It's 1950s for Disney's Captain America, First Avenger. This is the road Steve Rogers runs down when he first gets his powers. And he runs right past this glass building over on the right. See it juts out all these weird angles at the bottom? That's on purpose. It's real glass, so it's gonna have real reflections. And if you see the reflections of the actors walking in and out of the building, it looks really cool, really cinematic. And behind them, you see the reflection of the camera, the crew, the equipment. It's not gonna work. So we intentionally made areas that we could hide the reflection of the camera, but still get the reflection of the actors. And we could not wait to show it off when Disney's Captain America came out here to film. They were the first production to film out here after the renovation. You're like, check out this building, you can do this, you can do that. When Steve Rogers runs past that building, it makes no sense. That scene's supposed to take place in the 1950s. There's no way a building like that would exist. Luckily, when we did our renovations, we also created digital replicas of all of the buildings. So all they had to do was easily go in and post-production, digitally replace the building with a building under construction. So you go back and watch that scene, the building under construction is the only one that was digitally added. And we've worked with some phenomenal directors out here. They love this area of our lot. In fact, one of our all-time favorites, Lord of the Rings and King Kong director Peter Jackson, even made a little something special out here just for all of you.
It's the original King Kong that made me want to direct movies. I saw that movie on TV. I like films that just take you away from your real life and sweep you up into the energy. Kong literally does that. You're on board the ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from prehistoric times. How can I place it? So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Skull Island, and it's great to have you along for the ride. Now we have created this 3D immersive experience, so you're going to have your glasses ready. Don't put them on yet, but just warm your hand because we're about to return to Skull Island. We really put a lot of thought into the character and personality of Kong, and he's so much more than a monster. In fact, he's not a monster, even though he is an incredibly majestic, ancient creature. He's a force of nature. He's old, he's wise, he's proud, he's fearsome, he's heart. The most important feature of Kong's eyes are wonderfully expressive. They're full of emotion. His eyes are like his personality.
All right, y'all, I got a feeling this is going to be a bumpy ride. So be sure to secure any loose items you have now. Hold on tightly to all of your belongings, too. You don't want to drop anything in here. Be sure to remain seated at all times with your arms and legs inside the vehicle and the flash and our cameras off. And prepare yourselves. We're going back to Skull Island. stop, but hold on to these. We're checking out the second one later on in the tour. And that epic event was brought to us not only by director Peter Jackson, but also by the geniuses at Weta FX. They're the same ones who did the CGI for the movie King Kong. But while Weta FX completely digitally created King Kong 360 3D, the movie was a combination of digital and what we call practical effects. That's just anything physically in the scene when they're filming that's not added in post-production. So this version of the SS Venture and Skull Island were really miniature models. They created extremely detailed, tiny versions of the ship and of the island. Then by using real water and a wave machine, makes the whole thing look incredibly realistic. Especially when they add in all the fog and the lighting. They combine all these effects together. This is what it looks like. Looks pretty good, right? Unless, of course, a pesky duck decides to swim into frame. Then it either looks like a little boat or a really big duck. Changes the focus of the scene a little bit. That's another reason that our directors love filming in our metro sets. It's so easy to do practical effects out here because, unlike a real city, we have full control over these sets. So, did y'all watch American Ninja Warrior? Yeah, you know, they're like, we're filming in the streets of LA. Yeah, they're not. They're filming in the streets of our backlot out here. It would just be way too dangerous for the contestants to do those intense obstacle courses in the real streets of LA, but out here we can keep them safe. The wild thing about the show, though, not only are the contestants doing all the stunts, that part is 100% real. For an added level of control, to make sure the trams aren't going by and nobody else is filming, they film the show at like 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock in the morning. So they're doing those stunts in the middle of the night, too, right? Get your cameras ready because coming up on the right-hand side, you're gonna see this epic mural dedicated to the classic movie monsters that got their start at Universal. They're also the inspiration for the upcoming Dark Universe coming to Universal's Epic Universe in Orlando next year. This entire mural was made with hundreds and hundreds of cans of spray paint. This was designed by the famed graffiti artist Tristan Eaton. He's the same one who just did the cover art for Kid Cudi's very first comic book.
An instrumental part of the process of designing these murals was getting to go to the Universal Archive. Going there, I got to see in person props from the movies, photos from behind the scenes, original illustrations, photos from the posters, all the stuff. I had an early affection for movie monsters. I was always fascinated by the magic behind making movies, but I fell in love with zombie movies and monster movies as a young kid.
This year we're celebrating the 70th anniversary of the movie The Creature from the Black Lagoon. And this pretty lake coming up on the left is the Black Lagoon. It still looks pretty similar, even 70 years later. And The Creature is just one horror icon who got his start here. Really all the greats. Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, the Invisible Man. Oh, he's right there. We're celebrating the 90th anniversary of the Invisible Man this year. And they all got their start in the same place. Next area of our lot that we're gonna check out that we call Little Europe. Now we call it that because we can dress it up to look like any European town we want, really just by switching up the languages on the signs out here. But to be honest, we can make it look like pretty much anywhere. The original Mummy movie with Boris Karloff also filmed out here. They just dressed it all up to look like Cairo, Egypt. Since then, it's been places like Tortuga for Disney's Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. It was the fictional country of Genovia for Disney's Princess Diaries 2, A Royal Engagement. And the little girls, little baby Abigail Breslin, had their tiara parade. It was right there here. This is also used for, in my opinion, the best Cinderella movie, the one with Whitney Houston and Brandy. Shout out to Brandy too, she just got to play Cinderella one more time in the latest Descendants movie. This was also the perfect afterlife for the TV show The Good Place on NBC with Kristen Bell and Ted Danson.
You, Eleanor Shellstrop, are dead.
Cool.
This location, the afterlife, come on. I've never ever seen this. You're in the good place.
I'm not supposed to be here.
On your screen, you're seeing this yogurt shop that looks pretty big, but it's kind of an optical illusion. All we had to do was strategically angle the camera. The double doors are made smaller than regular double doors. They look really big, but far back. This technique called forced perspective makes the whole area look bigger, because in reality, that's what they were filming. You can see how much smaller the set looks in real life, but on screen, that becomes this.
I can't risk going to the bad place.
Ooh, maybe it's not all that bad.
How can I help you?
What is the bad place like?
Well, it doesn't sound awesome.
One place it is pretty awesome, though. On the right, we call this area our Court of Miracles, and the very first time the Frankenstein image was ever caught on film happened right out there. And Frankenstein is famously played by Boris Karloff, who also played the Mummy that filmed out here, but I gotta give a shout out to Jack Pierce. He was the one who created the makeup for both of those productions. Because in the 20s and the 30s, usually our actors just did their own makeup. This is Bela Lugosi doing his own makeup for Dracula. But most people don't realize, in the book Frankenstein, Mary Shelley never describes what Frankenstein's monster is supposed to look like. The iconic look of the flat top, scars, bolts, that was all created by this man right here on your screens, Jack Pierce. And this was revolutionary at the time, too. Nobody had ever seen any sort of prosthetics even remotely close to this, which would have been awesome, except for the fact that Frankenstein wasn't the only production filming out here. So when people would show up to work on other movies and see Boris Karloff walking around in his makeup, they genuinely thought there was a giant monster roaming the back lot. People were losing their minds. People actually fainted seeing Boris Karloff in his makeup. Basically, this was everybody's reaction. Just a heads up too, right now we're at about the halfway mark from the end of the tour, so just another reminder, stay seated for your own safety with your arms and legs inside the vehicle. But if at any point you do need any assistance, drop something, just can't wait to use the bathroom or anything, just reach up, grab that red cord. Always happy to come back and help you out. Get your cameras ready, because we're about to get a really, really cool opportunity. Mentioned we built our new sound stages out on our back lot. Right now we're in front of the newest soundstage on our lot, Soundstage 50. They're already filming in here. They've been filming for a new production that right now they're calling Ticket Machine Heist. There is a good chance that'll change, though. A lot of times we'll use a code name when we're filming, and then the actual title will be different when the movie comes out. But they're ramped up today, so they're gonna let us sneak in here and look at their set. Don't worry, you don't need 3D glasses or anything. We're just checking out their set. But this is all designed right now to look like this subway station in San Francisco. So everything in here was specifically selected by the production design team to dress this set up. Each of the props and set dressings were either bought for the production, custom made for the production, which we can do right here on our lot, or these were rented from Universal's costume and prop department. And we have the biggest costume and prop department in all of Hollywood. Literally millions of items in there, anything a production could need. And we don't just rent to Universal Productions either. Any production company is welcome to rent from our costume and prop department. But anything custom made for a Universal production will also come back there. So we're always adding new things too. It's constantly changing. Now we can also do. Okay, everybody just remain calm, remain seated. That was just a tiny trigger.